Hey, this is Russell Moore, and this is One Thing You Missed. I'm standing here in front of the Christmas tree, not at my house, but at my work. And that's kind of appropriate because we're talking today about work. There was a really fascinating article in The Atlantic this week about why white collar workers are spending so much time at the office. And you may say, well, that doesn't really apply to me. I'm not a white collar worker, or I am unemployed, or I'm a student, or I work out of my home, or whatever. But it actually does apply to you. And here's why. The article is about sort of changes technologically and culturally toward what the article called neurofactoring. And what it said was because the smartphone is always with you, that there's a connectivity that takes place essentially almost 24 hours a day for a lot of people. And they feel as though they have to be completely engaged with their workplace almost all the time for all sorts of reasons. But the interesting thing to me about the article was at the very end, where it said that one of the factors driving this is actually not technological and it's not economic. It's cultural, which is in asking people what's important to you in terms of happiness in life. What they found is that by far the biggest answer was finding a career that's fulfilling and satisfying, far more than family life, far more than romance, far more than almost than anything else. That I think is a problem. And I think as Christians, we're the people who ought to understand the rhythm of 6 days you shall labor, and on the seventh you shall rest. That seventh day, the reality that God has brought us into in Christ, as the book of Hebrews tells us, that eternal Sabbath, ought to tell us, among other things, we're not defined by our work. We do our work. We do our work joyfully, but we're not defined by our accomplishments and by our performance. And I think the super high view that many people have when it comes to choosing a career and living out a career has led to a lot of disappointment, a lot of overwork, a lot of burnout. It's good to have a job that you like. It's good to understand what your gift set is. It's good to be able to find some meaning and satisfaction there. But when that becomes your ultimate identity, your ultimate meaning, your ultimate satisfaction, no job can keep those promises, and that becomes instead tyranny. So one of the things I think we have to offer to the world this Christmas, even as we talk about the goodness and the dignity of work, is to say you're more than your work. God rest ye, merry gentlemen and women. As Russell Moore, this is One Thing You Missed.